Hey, what up, guys? It's me again, and welcome to This Is My Moment podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Mitchell. And here at This Is My Moment, man, we love having fun. We love meeting new people, and we love seeing you grow. Let's go get it.
There ain't no stopping it. This is my moment. Join the movement. We bringing people together, bringing positivity, making changes for the better, because it's all about growth.
Today, I got a cat on the other end of this computer that I think got a story for us. I can't wait to hear it. My first time meeting this young man, and we're going to see what he got. Introduce yourself to the family.
Yes, sir. How you doing, Patrick? First off, I want to thank you for saying young man, man. I'm just turning 50 here, so.
Hey, look good on you, brother.
Oh, thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
You know what they say, Italian doesn't crack.
Hey,
That's what they say.
I heard something similar.
Yeah. So my name's John Petrelli, and we kind of said this behind closed doors beforehand. I checked out your podcast when I was invited and blessed to be invited, and I just love the positive vibe that you put out there, looking for what life lessons people can learn from someone else's experience, and that's beautiful. And that's kind of where I have my life right now. We all have failures, but we see them as successes if we learn from that experience and bring it forward with us. Man. So I'm the son of two Italian immigrants. My parents were from Italy.
Yeah.
I have a wife and two boys, and we're blessed here to live in Austin, Texas. I've been a fitness trainer for 30 years. And I've traveled the whole world internationally with different celebrities and Grammy winners and things of that nature. Keeping people healthy is my passion, keeping them functional, keeping them motivated. And, I'd love to share some of that with you today, Patrick.
Let's get it. So before we start, I got a question, but I'm just right up the street from you, man. I'm up on the other side of Dallas, man.
Oh, there you go. I love that. I'm going to have to come and visit.
Man, I'm right. Ain't nothing here, though, brother. I'm in Wichita Falls, man. It'll be a night stay, a good dinner, and a drive home.
Well, I'll tell you what is up there. I'm coming to get one of the "This Is My Moment" T-shirts I saw on your website. I'm coming to purchase one of those.
You know what, man? You make a trip up here, you get it for free, brother. Man, pleasure having you. Let's get cracking though. Let's see what you had, man. So
sure.
Before I get into like the main meat of the questions, I was researching and I saw that you couldn't walk. Like I'd seen something where it said that you couldn't walk. So before I wanted to ask you about like your childhood and all that stuff, now walking is a big deal. We just start there. What happened?
Yeah, I love it. So it's kind of crazy, Patrick. This time last year, I got stricken with a thing called Guillain-Barré syndrome. Some people also call it Guillain-Barré, and it's an autoimmune disorder. Yeah. And out of nowhere, my feet started going numb. Let me rewind a little bit so you can understand my mental perspective a little bit. Yeah. As a child, I've always been taught to work hard. I grew up from a family of immigrants. I've never not had a job from delivering papers or mucking horse stalls or whatever. Yeah. And so I kind of maybe a little bit keep things to myself if they're bothering me. And maybe sometimes as men, not rightfully so, but sometimes we keep things inside so other people don't worry. Yeah. So my feet started going numb. And I'm working 40 hours a week. And then I didn't tell my wife or my kids. And then my ankles started going numb. And then before you know it, I had other things that happening, not to get too explicit, but I couldn't use the bathroom. I couldn't feel my fingers. And so I told my wife a little bit of this, and she took me down to urgent care. Yeah, no question. And urgent care took a look at me. And they said, you know what, I think I have a suspicion what you might have. And they started running some tests. And they sent me to the emergency room, and I did a spinal tap where they take the fluid out of your spine. And I tested positive for Guillain-Barré syndrome, GBS. Yeah. And before you know it, I couldn't feel anything below my knees. Then I couldn't feel anything below my legs. And if it was going to transcend into my lungs, it can shut your lungs down. So I was literally in the ICU for 10 days, and I became paralyzed. The only thing I could move was my eyeballs. Couldn't move anything.
Brother.
Crazy. And I stay fit, I'm healthy, and it all happened within like 24 to 36 hours. So now, Patrick, I'm laying in the hospital. Here's a person that's defined his identity by his physicality.
Yeah.
And now I had to use my mentality to navigate myself out of the waters of the hospital. There was no time for woe is me, no time for why is this happening to me. It's just like, how do I stay positive? How do I use my mentality to get out of here, to serve my community, to serve my family, to be there for my young boys? And that's what happened.
Yes. Oh, goodness, man. First off, congratulations, man. And it's a blessing to have you. We just start there, man. But
thank you, buddy.
That's heavy. That's heavy. And we're going to actually talk more about that. I got the questions wrote down that I wanted to talk about, but I saw that, so I had to ask. So I'm gonna come back to that. But I saw also that you had trouble when you was a youngster. You know what I mean? To where
I did.
You had to make some life decisions to help you get on your right path, man. Growing up, what kind of trouble did you have? I mean, you work hard. You said that you always working. What'd you do, man, to get into that trouble? And then what was your mindset on getting out of that trouble?
That's a great question, buddy. That's a great question. I think a lot of young men, and I don't want to just exclude women, but I think there's things that make each of us unique, and men deal with some things that we put on ourselves that other people put on us. But I had a great childhood at different levels. My mother was very caring. My father had the tools that he had. He was born in 1921, my father. And so he grew up during the Depression, and he served in 3 wars. He was in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. So he was raised by the military. And through that, no one teaches us how to be a father. So he was more of my commanding general, and I was private first class always.
Yes,
and
sir.
Being a former military man yourself, right? I shouldn't say former, retired. You're always a military man.
Yes, sir.
And I have such respect for that. I have such respect for my father, but caring and love wasn't one of his main things. It was, he wasn't taught that. He didn't have a father, so he only knew what he learned in the military. And not to have a long story, but through that and through searching for his love, his affection, his approval, fear was part of my childhood being based in that, and fear grew into anger, and anger grew into violence. Unfortunately, when I was 18, I had an incident where I was in a fight and altercation in the street. And in a split second, I made a decision, a bad decision. And I almost killed somebody with a strike. And their head hit the back of the concrete and it split open. And man, I had a lot to think about. And in retrospect, it ended up being, and I asked for forgiveness for that event, but it ended up being one of the best things in my life because it put a hard stop on what was going on in my life.
Yes, sir.
And I had this thing which I call quality control that I have in my life now.
Yes, sir.
My mentality back then didn't match my physical actions, and I had turbulence on the inside. I had to give myself quality control and go, are my actions in alignment with what my mentality is? And I had to say no. And I had no one else to blame. I didn't have my peer group to blame. I didn't have my father to blame or anything. And I had to take responsibility. And I said, if I want to have a better future, if I want to influence people, if I want to help myself and help other people around me, I need to change my environment. I need to change my surroundings, and I need to start thinking unselfishly and start serving people. And at that moment, man, I made a decision, and I said, I'm going to change my life. And I wish I could tell you it happened that quick, but in Italian, we have a term called testa dura, which means hard head.
Yes, sir.
I've been accused of that, and rightfully so. So it took some years. It took studying. It took a process, but I was able to change my life from getting arrested, being in jail, to changing my life to helping and serving people and loving life and being happy.
Yes, sir.
So that was a huge moment in my childhood, brother.
I tell you what, man, 2 things that you talked about that I agree with 100%. The first thing, man, is like our parents. You can't expect parents to know everything. And I call it expectation management, right?
Yes, sir.
And as a kid, we expect like our parents to be a certain way, but at the end of the day, they're still just people. And as we grow and into men and as into fathers, you understand that, you know what, this is all he knew. So I can't expect him to be a certain way if he don't know that certain way. And I think us as kids growing into men, we understand expectation management, and you started looking at fatherhood a little bit different, you know. And I think I was the same way. I expected like my father to be a certain kind of way, but that was just me putting unrational, unreasonable, monumentous expectations on my dad. And at the end of the day, he's just a guy just like me. You see what I'm saying? And it took me a long time to realize that I was putting undue stress and undue pressure on him, and I wouldn't put it on myself. You see what I'm saying? So I agree.
Yeah, that's great perspective, man. I love that.
The second thing I wanted to talk to you about is that split second. And I talk to kids daily. That's what I do. I'm a positive action mentor. That's how I pay the bills. And I talk to kids and I say, man, we're only one mistake away from being in a situation that you can't get yourself out of because you lose it. And keeping that patience, walking away or turning the other cheek, as they used to say, is a trait that people need to practice. You need to strengthen that, because one mistake can change the entire trajectory of your life, man. And when you did that and you went through your ups and downs, but you realize, you know what, I can't blame nobody, like this is me. So taking that accountability that you took, to me, was the first step of making yourself amazing. Because a lot of times it's easy to be like, oh, my situation, I can't, this is why. No, you owned it, you did it, you owned it, and you fixed it, brother.
Yeah, thank you, man.
You cooking.
And you know what, Patrick, to piggyback on what you just said, I love the fact that you help kids. And think about it today. Kids haven't, in my opinion, tougher than we did, because there was no cell phones to record my mistakes, right? That lives in its infinity right now. It's forever. And kids have it tougher today. So I feel for them and I sympathize with it. And they have less margin for error.
Mm-hmm. Man, and you know what? And I was talking to my brother, man. My brother is my guy. And I'm talking to him and I'm saying, you know, what's funny is we try to parent the best way that we can, but we have no clue on how big these kids are into that social media. One person say something or take a picture of you, and next thing you know, your kid is going through something that you have no idea how to get them out of, because we don't understand the gravity of this social media thing and how it affects emotionally and mentally these kids, these kids, man. And you hear it, right? They talk, oh, Dad, they're doing this, or they call me Coach Mitchell. Coach Mitchell, I put a post out and people are not liking it. Like, it's okay for people not to like, but they don't understand that. It's just the social media thing, and that's how they rolling, man. And I'm just like, I couldn't have did it, because when I was growing up, getting bullied meant you was getting punched. Like, we just like you're fighting. Like, they're gonna talk about
We're dealing with it. Yeah,
that's it. But now, man, I believe personally that the social media aspect of growing up with these kids is worse than getting in fights. Like, I would much rather just get in a fight, call it good.
It's over.
It's over. We're done. You might be best friends with them people in a couple of weeks, right? Depending on who the person was, right? But man, you spot on, brother, and I think you're cooking with it. Let me ask you this: when you were down, man, and you were going through all that stuff, man, how did you stay positive? Like, what was your mindset?
Yeah, so in different parts of my life, my mindset has been different. So if we go back to the initial question you asked me when I was in the hospital, my mindset now was, I'm going to focus on, when I was paralyzed in the hospital, I'm going to focus on all my energy on what it takes to get out of here. Now, if I can move my finger, I'm not going to complain about not being able to move my neck or my arm. I'm moving my finger, I'm happy. So I'm going to move that damn finger until I can't move it anymore, and I'm going to try for 2. Now I surrounded myself. I'm going to name drop a little bit here, but I think it's relevant. One of my good friends and dear clients for 20 years is Ziggy Marley, Bob Marley's son. I love Bob Marley music, so I filled the room with that. So now I give myself less of a time to even pull myself into any negative circumstance. I got positive music going around. I started eating healthy food, although it was pureed because I couldn't swallow. And I just said, I'm going to focus on myself getting better, and also understand that there are people in these rooms around me in the ICU that probably won't make it out of here. And I need to believe how blessed I am that at least I can move my eyeballs or my finger right now, because somebody else may not be able to do that in the room next door.
Bro.
So how do I take a gradual step forward every moment, stay positive? And this will sound crazy, but in this disease, it eats your nerve endings, and you systematically get weaker and weaker because the nerves control the muscles.
Right.
In my mind, even if it never worked, I started visualizing my body repairing my own nerves, because it kept my mind occupied on something positive. And I kept praying, and I kept visualizing myself healing my body.
Yeah.
And before you know it, man, I was in a wheelchair, and then I was in a walker, and then I was in a cane. And then they were saying, slow down, you're not supposed to get up that fast.
Hey, what you doing, brother?
Yeah.
Man, I love that, man. I love it. And I talk about steps. I put a post out the other day, man, and it was a small step, right? And I'm just throw this out there, and it wraps back around to it. We just hit 1,000 downloads for our podcast, which is amazing, because we've only been doing it for about 2 months now. So first off, that's amazing. Shout out to Ashley, she's killing it. But this is the thing: a lot of times I have to tell myself it's a small step in the right direction. But if I take a small step, then I take another small step, then another small step. Now I'm building momentum, right? And momentum, to me, is what you need to propel yourself to your next goal, destination, dream, objective, whatever you call it. Yeah. And a lot of times people undervalue those small steps, right? And just the fact that you were able to move your finger, that was a small step in comparison to what you're doing. But you know what? That was still a step. That was the momentum to move your second finger. That was the momentum to go to the wheelchair, to the walker, to the cane, right? So like the small steps you need to be thankful for the small steps just as big as the final goal, the final destination, that last step. Because without that first one, brother, it wouldn't have been no
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And you know, something that I've come to learn as I've gotten a little bit older is I'm grateful for the failures, because there's lessons in the failures. My life, if you look at it, is a systematic book of failures.
Yeah.
But what tools did I take from them failures? And how do I apply them now so they become a success, right? So the stories of success that's compiled of all these different trials, because I don't believe if you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough, right? And I don't define it as a failure. I define it as, hey, man, we had an experiment, and now we're going to tweak it a little bit, and we're going to move forward.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So you talked about it, man. I'm digging it. I love everything, man, because I'm right there with you. And you talked about having your circle, right? The people that you talk to. How important, man? How important is it to you, man, to have a power circle, to have people in your corner that's genuinely cheering for you, not because of what you do, but for who you are and what you have? How important do you think it is to have that circle around you, man?
Brother, I think that's an amazing question. And I'm going to add to that, because I'm going to get to your cheering for you.
Go ahead.
But I even love the fact that I have people in my circle that are brave enough, love me enough, and care about me enough to tell me when it's not good, and to tell me the truth, right? Because if I have the facts, I can make the changes, right? So I love that people cheer for me, but I also be like, you know what? Okay, we got to take a step back. We got to do this again. Let's redefine this, whatever it may be, because that's how we acquire knowledge, and that's how we put it into play.
Yes,
so it's so important, and you do need people that are going to lift you up. I want people to surround myself to make me better, right? And I want to make them better and contribute. Yeah. And so it doesn't mean we're going to agree on everything, Patrick. You and I may have a different opinion on something, but we can respectfully discuss it, and we can learn from each other, and we can get better.
Are you talking? And I tell this story, man. I used to be a basketball coach, and I didn't have an assistant coach, right? So every play that I ran was a good play, right? Because I didn't have anyone to bounce it off of.
Right.
But the moment that I got an assistant coach, someone that I trusted and someone that I knew had the best interest of the team and us as a unit in mind, all of a sudden I became a better person. I became a better coach because now all those plays that I thought were good because it was just Patrick.
Right.
They didn't sound as good. They didn't play out as well. But then when I got that circle around me to where I was bouncing these ideas off of these people, right? All of a sudden, I'm like, you know what? You're right. That don't make good sense. Let's reevaluate. How can we make it better?
Right.
You know what? Yeah, brother. Now you see yourself grow. Now you see yourself start to elevate because those people that you kept around you and you keep around you, not just saying yes. Like you can clap for me and still tell me no.
Right,
you know what I mean? Like, please just don't keep saying yes, because if you're just saying yes, then we can't do nothing.
Yeah.
Tell me the truth. Be honest. Be respectful. And if I respect you and I care about you the same way that you respect and care about me, the conversation is going to be easy, even if we disagree.
Right. And just from the little bit I know you want the truth, right? You want to get better.
No question.
Right? Without sugarcoating it, just tell me how I get better. And we can make this happen.
Shoot it to me.
Yeah,
man, that's solid. Now,
go ahead.
I saw that you got a book coming out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Confessions of a Hollywood Trainer.
Yes. Yeah.
Talk to me.
So here's my journey. I went from being in a small farm town to having challenges as a youth. To making a decision to change my life. And I changed it geographically. I went from upstate New York to California at 21 years old. Okay. I started my own business as a trainer.
Yeah.
If we had a longer conversation, I'll tell you the different jobs I had. I was a security guard. I got guns pulled on me. I used to muck horse stalls for $5 an hour. I used to bale hay. And before you know it, no one's trying to kill me. And I'm making more than $5 an hour helping people training, right? So I turned this into a career where I was able to transcend and get into magazines like Muscle and Fitness and all these things that help people. And I happened to move to an area where there was a lot of celebrities and entertainers. And man, I was blessed to help a lot of people, thousands of people over the years, from elite athletes to people you'll see on TV. And I went on tours for several years, traveling a couple hundred flights a year. And all that I learned, if I can do it, a kid from a small farm town that had humble beginnings. My parents were immigrants from another country. And I decided to change my life in some of the lowest points in my life. And I was able to change that. I surrounded myself with people like you had mentioned. I started working daily to just improve. To be a better person. And now I've had all these experiences. So what I did is I compiled a book, and a big part of it is my lessons in life, like what I learned, how I grew, and how that kid that may be out there that can relate to some of the things that he can be in a dark moment or she can be in a dark moment and go, man, I can't see past tomorrow. I can't see past Friday. Everything seems like it's coming in on me. But everything is possible. Everything is possible. I'll give you a little excerpt from the book, and it's crazy. It's a freak of nature. I was 4'11". 4'11" as a freshman in high school, 90 pounds. I had a nice full face of acne. I was 4'11". I was not a ladies' man. It was crazy. You want to hear something? Literally. So that was freshman year in high school. By the time I was 25, out of a freak of nature, being at the right place at the right time, I got picked to be the Dolce & Gabbana guy with Giselle, who is Tom Brady's wife. And I was internationally all over billboards. Now, the chances of me winning the lotto are greater. You can look at my high school pictures and you can go, if there's anybody that would never model with Giselle, it's that guy right there. But out of a freak of nature, that was able to happen. And all these things were able to happen because I stayed positive. And yes, we all have our down moments, but we learn from that and you move forward and you go, how do I get better? And when my life really took a trajectory up is when I dedicated myself to helping other people. And the more I focused on them, the more I got elevated. And so that's what my book is about. It's out there for that person that may go, man, I don't see a future. I don't know what it is. I'm confused. I've had these down moments. And hopefully they can gather from my stories and go, this is somebody that came from humble beginnings, is still learning, is still helping people, but was able to be defined possibly as having a successful life.
Brother. I like that. Let me ask you a question. So this is
go ahead, man.
Someone actually sent you. Well, when you started doing the training, right, and you training all these big names, right, and you going out on these tours, what's the biggest misconception that you had? Like in your mind, you thought it was going to be something. Then you started doing it. You was like, wait a minute, I need to change to meet my market. What was one of the biggest misconceptions, man?
Yeah, so I had, and I can define this a little bit more in detail in the future. But I had, and I think we all may have a misconception of what celebrity is.
Yeah.
Celebrity doesn't necessarily equal happiness. Celebrity doesn't necessarily equal success in that celebrity's mind.
Yeah.
We're all human beings. We all bleed red, my friend. And so I had this misconception that when a person reaches a certain status that we see on TV, we may hold them in high esteem, but they may be some of the most unhappy people in the world. And we all have challenges, whether you're famous or not. So that was a big thing to learn from me, and that we're all human and we all run off of the same emotions and we all run off of the same caring and we all need love and want to give love.
Yes, sir. Brother, you own to something. You are on to something. Now, it's my turn to have a little fun.
Yes, please.
At the end of every show, I have a little game that I like to play. Word association. I give you some options. You have to pick.
Yes, sir.
Hey, guys, just like always, John knew the questions. Ashley sent them to him. We freestyled a little bit. He did well, knocked it out the park. I actually enjoyed this tremendously. But now we finna get into my part. Let's get it cracking, John.
Hold on, man. Let me say a quick prayer here.
Loosen up, brother. So, I saw when I was researching you some pictures of some fishing. So who's the better fisherman, you or your kids? Who's catching the biggest fish?
Wow. I would like to say I'm the better fisherman, but they often catch the bigger fish, and my wife will top all of us.
What?
Yes. Yeah. And you're talking to a guy, I'm not proud of this, but I have 62 fishing poles in my house. 60, and you know how I know? Because my wife counted them.
Man, that's a lot of fishing poles.
Do you fish?
Brother, no. You know what I do? I go to the lake and I'll throw my pole in there, then I'll drink a beer. Sorry.
There you go.
Hey, as long as I come home with something, she don't care if I got it from the grocery store or the lake.
I love that.
All right, so Cheyenne is the fisherman in the family.
Yes.
Too easy. Second one, you got one thing to tell a client for them to achieve ultimate success. One thing only. What are you telling them?
Patience.
Ooh.
Have patience with yourself, have patience with the process, have patience with other people. And right behind that is be kind to yourself as you would be kind to other people. Yes, sometimes we can be so hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
You want to hold yourself to a high standard, but you also have to be kind in the process. It doesn't mean you don't work hard. It doesn't mean you don't have reality in front of you, but be patient and be kind to yourself and good things will happen.
Man. Last one.
Yes, sir.
I give you the phrase, this is my moment.
Okay.
First thing comes to your mind, this is my moment.
To help people.
Ooh.
My moment to help people, man.
Too easy.
I have, a lot of bruises and scars and bumps on my body, and I want to use them to the best of my ability to serve other people and to help people. Yeah. And inch by inch, lick by lick. I want to do that on a larger and larger scale, bro.
Man, you hit it. And I'm gonna finish with this here, man. It's something about the way that I feel when I help others grow into the best version of themselves without getting anything in return.
Yeah.
You're not clapping for me. You're not patting me on the back. You're not putting me on social media. It's me and you talking, growing, and me giving you everything that I got for you to be successful. And then you helping someone else. That's how I look at my legacy. So when you said that this is my moment to help others, that to Patrick is my legacy, because you know what's going to happen? You help that person, right? You know what happens when they help someone else, right? That's John. And then when they help someone else, that's John, right? So now, man, you done help one person, and the residual effect of John, man, you done reach 10 more people. That's your legacy,
That's beautiful.
bro. Man, you got it. John, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
It's my pleasure. I want to thank you for helping me.
Yeah.
Right. Because this word can get out there and we can affect a lot of people. And you know, I know people can see this video maybe a year from now and they can be in a place where they need it. And I appreciate you for taking the time to allow me to come here and have a conversation with you.
Yes, sir.
And man, I wish you many blessings in continuing your journey and helping people. And I can just tell from the small conversation we had, you're doing an amazing job. Yeah. And a lot of people are blessed to be in your presence.
Dig that, brother. I keep trying my best, man. Trying my best. Hey, guys, John said it. Get yourself with your quality control. Quality control yourself. Understand it, own it, develop it, grow it. Be kind to yourself. Practice patience. One step at a time, one foot in front of the other, and keep moving forward. And at the end of the day, go get it!
There ain't no stopping it, this is my moment. Join the movement, we bringing people together, bringing positivity, making changes for the better. Cause it's all about growth, all about success. We wanna see you rise, wanna see